Hey, welcome back to Blazing the Jungle. Today we're going to talk about 5 mistakes that I've made over my first 3 years selling on Amazon FBA with Amazon PPC. Hey, if you're new to this channel, we're talking about Amazon FBA, so please hit that subscribe button if you're into talking about that kind of stuff. Also wanted to give a shout out to the Facebook group, Blazing the Jungle. We're on Facebook, so if you guys want to connect over there, go ahead and find us. That way there'll be a link in the description down below. I'd love to see you guys there and help you out any way that I possibly can. All right, so let's get into the content for today. It's a good one. It's Amazon PPC and the 5 mistakes that I've made over the last 3 years, and I've made some doozies. Okay, the first mistake that I made in Amazon pay-per-click is not having a budget. So on my first product, I believe it was my first product, it was one of the first products that I did. I had no budget at all for that. And I got all excited. I watched a bunch of YouTube videos and I'm like, yeah, I'm gonna conquer this thing, I'm gonna crush this thing. I'm just gonna blaze through Amazon PPC. We're gonna take over the whole entire world. We're gonna dominate page 1, spot number 1 on every keyword that I'm going after. And I did not care how much I spent because I was taught not to care about how much I spent. I hear all these guys talking about 150 bucks a day, like thousands of dollars. Yeah, we're gonna do this. And I'm just like, okay, cool. I'm not afraid either. I'll do this too. Well, that didn't work out so well. Amazon's just gonna take your money. I mean, they don't care. Amazon doesn't care about you. They're gonna take your money. If you give them a truck full, if you roll up with a truck full of money and you're like, here, Amazon, take my money, please. They're like, all right, I'll take your money. Come on back tomorrow. You know, that's how they roll. So here's the deal, guys. You gotta have a budget. You gotta, when you launch your product, especially on Amazon PPC, because I can promise you for probably most of you, 90% or more of you guys, Amazon PPC is going to be the biggest cash drain on your business until you figure out how to get it under control. It's hard and it's actually very simple at the same time. So it's going to take you a while, but I'm telling you right now, that is where you need to spend a lot of your time learning Amazon PPC so you do not blow all your money on your first product or any of your products for that matter. Just you got to be smart with your money. So here's the deal, guys. The way I like to do it now, I don't just spend the money until the cows come home. Like I have a budget. So people will talk about ACOS and tacos. Tacos, we all like tacos. It's Taco Tuesday. Today's Tuesday as I'm filming this, so it's definitely Taco Tuesday. Tacos essentially means it's the percentage of advertising money spend that you're gonna have compared to your sales. So let's say, for a simple example, let's say I sell $100 in sales today. I'm okay with 30% or $30 going towards advertising in the first month. So when I launch a product now, I figure out what I think I'm going to sell today, and then I target the Amazon PPC to be 30% of that sales number. So as the days go on over the first few days, I'm watching it, and I'm trying to keep the PPC under control so that it stays within that 30% threshold. Because I don't want it to go just crazy and just blow all the money. I'm good with the 30% tacos in the first month when I launch a new product, but that does require me to monitor the campaigns on a daily basis to make sure that I stay within that margin. Second month, I'm kind of down to 20%, and then it gets down to 10% over time, maybe even 5%, depending on how I'm feeling about a certain product and what my margins are even. But yeah, so that was one of the largest mistakes that I made. I just went hog wild crazy, and I was ready to prove the world that I'm not afraid of Amazon PPC and I'll outspend everybody and do the thing. But yeah, when you get the bill, you kind of regret that. This is not play money, guys. It's real money. So just have a budget. Have a budget. Mistake number 2 is launching a super aggressive PPC campaign with a tiny little margin. So if your product's got like $1 or $2, margin, maybe $3, I don't know, a small margin, I don't think it's a good idea to be running PPC like you own the place. It's just not, there's no margin for you to run the advertising that you need in that sense, because and PPC is going to take it all. I mean, you got to account for like a couple dollars, sometimes $1 at least at minimum. Yeah, so a big old mistake I made was, having a tiny little margin on one of my products and running Amazon PPC like I was loaded or rich or something. So that didn't work out too well. I eventually learned to not do that over time, and that was a good lesson to learn, because I like to make money, not give Amazon all of my money. Number 3, and these, by the way, are in no particular order. I'm just listing them off as I wrote them down. So running PPC before your listing is optimized. So you have to have, when you go into page 1 of the keyword that you're going for, your listing has to look as good, if not better, than all of the listings on that page 1. So if you go in there and your images are just not good, and your copy's not good, and your title's all weird, you're not going to compete. And if you start throwing PPC money at it, that's not going to help either. So, one of the mistakes that I made early on was I was like, yeah, it's good enough. I took some pictures with my phone, whatever. No, I was like, I'm just impatient. I want to get this going. Let's start now. I'll see how it goes. And I turned the PPC on, and I went somewhat aggressive, and, it's not a good idea. You really have to take your time and get the good pictures. Do your due diligence to get good pictures. So I'm a photographer anyway, so I take all of my own pictures, and I take a lot of pictures in order to get the ones that I like. But I can promise you, I would not balk at paying $1,000 on really good pictures, because if you don't do that, you're going to blow $1,000 on PPC anyway. So it sort of adds up. The main point here is to make sure your listing looks as good as you can possibly make it before you run Amazon PPC. All right, next tip, number 4. So this is a fun one. So if you're familiar with the match types, exact match, phrase match, and broad match, I'm not going to get into all those little details because there's plenty of videos out there that'll explain it much better than me. However, what the broad match term means, let's just say you're selling a Sherpa, like a white Sherpa blanket, white Sherpa throw blanket. I don't know. I'm trying to think of a keyword phrase there. White Sherpa throw blanket is probably good. And you're going to target the keywords. Let's just go blanket. Just say the keyword is blanket, literally blanket. And you're going to put that in a broad keyword match. So what that means is Amazon's going to allow, when people type in the search bar, pretty much if they have the word blanket anywhere in that search term, your ad could show for that. So let's just say they're looking for a queen mattress set blanket, or they're looking for a baby blanket, or they're looking for a beach blanket, or a picnic blanket, or anything that's not a white Sherpa blanket. You're going to be running ads to those people and paying for those clicks that are not going to convert. So you have to be very careful about broad match in that sense if you're going to go super short tail keywords. And what short tail means is like 1 or 2 keywords in the phrase is considered to be a short tail. Long tail keyword is like 3 or 4 words or more. So when you run broad match, you got to avoid the short tail keywords because you're going to get a ton of traffic on irrelevant keywords that aren't going to convert, and you're just going to waste a lot of money. So there's 2 ways to combat that. One is Amazon does a really good job of actually giving you suggested keywords. So if you were to type the word blanket in, like that's the keyword you're going to go for under broad match, Amazon will show you down below a bunch of suggested blanket related keywords. And you can see all the ones that Amazon will show them for that are not related to you at all. So you want to negative exact match those phrases, or a negative phrase match even would be probably better in that case. So that you don't show for that traffic. Like if you're selling a Sherpa blanket, you don't want it showing for a beach blanket. It's just ridiculous. It's just not going to happen. So negate any kind of keyword phrase that you think might get shown that's just irrelevant to you. If you're going to go short tail keyword on a broad. The other way is just to don't do it at all. Stick with the long tail keywords. At least 3 words in your phrase or more to kind of get it within the ballpark of what your blanket is. Yeah, so if you're going to go abroad, I would suggest spending the time to negate irrelevant phrases that might arise out of that keyword, or just sticking with the 3 words per phrase or more strategy for that. So it'll save you a lot of money. Okay, and the last tip that I have today, or the last mistake I should say that I've made in the past, is going for so you've all heard this if you've watched any number of PPC videos. You'll hear a lot of folks saying, yeah, wait 7 to 10 days and don't touch it. Just don't even touch it, let it run, download the report later. Cool. I mean, if you're into spending lots of money. So I don't agree to that. Here's the deal. Here's what could happen. So let's just say you are going to go after it. You're going to go after it. You're going to set your bids high daily budget. You're not going to touch it for 7 to 10 days. Well, what's going to happen when you finally download that report and you've got like 1 or 2 keywords or even more that have taken all the budget, all of it. These high volume, expensive keywords just took all the clicks. All the clicks went to these couple of keywords and nobody else got to play. I don't want to wait 10 days to find out I got 2,000 clicks and no sales on a keyword. That's just stupid, guys. What I like to do is on day 1, I launch, and at least once a day, probably every 12 hours or so, in the very, very beginning, I am watching that report on the dashboard, or I download the report behind the scenes. I'm looking for 8 to 10 clicks and no sales. And if I see that, I want to catch it right on the 8 or right on the 10, right in that range. And I want to lower the bid to like 12 cents or something really, really low, or just negate it altogether. Like just pause it, get rid of it. I do not want Amazon taking any more money than they need just for the sake of collecting data. Like I want to find the keywords that actually are selling, and I want to kill off the ones that are not as soon as possible. I do not need to wait 7 to 10 days to find that out. It's just a huge waste of money. You can start optimizing that thing immediately. Some might say, well, what if you optimize one? What if you turn one off that got a sale and it just hasn't shown up yet? Awesome. The next day when you check, you're going to see the sale and you'll be able to bring it back up. It's not a huge deal. I err on the side of trying to kill the bleeders as soon as I possibly can. I do not want to wait 7 to 10 days. I've done that in the past. It just cost me money. I don't want to see you guys go through that. PPC is going to be hard enough. It's going to hit your wallet really hard if you're not careful. So that's what I would suggest, is check that thing all the time, kill the bleeders as soon as you can, and promote the keywords that are actually making you sales quicker as well. Okay, well, that's an awful lot of information for one day. I hope you guys found this helpful. I know a lot of this will not make any sense to some of you guys if you're brand new. Over time it will. Maybe you watch the video a few times, especially as you're doing PPC. Maybe some of these points will eventually click if they're not already. If you're an existing seller and you've been around a while and you're doing 6 or 7 figures, definitely tell me I'm wrong. I'd love to hear what you guys have to say about any of the mistakes and the tips that I brought forth today. If anybody has any questions about the content today, definitely leave me a note down in the comments section. I will do my best to respond to every single question that I get. Subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. Give us a like or a dislike depending on how you're feeling and how I did with this video. And I'd love to see you guys over at Blazing the Jungle on Facebook. All right, guys, well, have a good one. Enjoy PPC. Don't give Amazon any more money than they want to take from you. And have a good one. We'll see you in the next video.